Hey guys, and welcome to my 2020 Bujo setup. This will be a setup of all my yearly spreads as well as my January spreads. Jumping right into it, here is my future log. I've never really used future log in my previous bullet journals, but I'm gonna give it a shot this year and try and stick to it, because from what I understand, the system is supposed to trickle down from the yearly to the monthly to the weekly to the daily, and I've never really used it exactly like that, so this year I'm giving that a try. How I decided to set this up is by having a title box at the top where I wrote future log and then dividing each page into 6 spaces for each month. Initially, I meant to start with February and have a space at the bottom for notes instead of a 12th month, because January is technically coming up and I wouldn't really have to plan for the future in January, but once I started writing the months, I messed up and I did write January, so I just decided to roll with it. I also decided to add some washi tape off camera because when I was recording it, it was very awkward and I kept turning my bullet journal every which way and I could not cut it without taking it out of the frame. So I used a white and gold washi tape just to add a little bit something to the spread, and also since each of my boxes actually had 8 spaces and I didn't want to offset the monthly to the left or to the right weirdly, I just decided to border it off with washi tape. I also really want to focus on my health for 2020, so I decided to include a fitness tracker. Since I did not play a sport in college, I've kind of gotten very lazy and out of sync with working out, so I really want to get back into it. How I'm going to divide the spread is by having 3 columns. The first one is going to be for my weight each month, the second one is going to be for my measurements each month, and the third one is going to be for my feelings each month. That way I can keep track of everything, so even if my weight and measurements are kind of all over the place and not really showing any progress, whether it's bad or good, I can look at my feelings and see something like, oh, my clothes are fitting better, or maybe I just feel healthier, maybe I feel lighter all the time, I'm happy, like I wake up earlier now and refreshed all the time. So I can include things like that so I can balance it out and really see what's going on, both emotionally and physically. The measurements that I'm including each month are bust, chest, waist, hips, thighs, calves, upper arm, and forearm. And those are usually considered to be the standard things that you measure if you're trying to determine whether you're losing weight or gaining muscle. Since my fitness tracker took up 3 pages, on the 4th page I decided to put my period tracker. I've used apps before to track it, and then for a while I was on birth control, but for 2020 I am trying to track my period cycle and see how it is naturally, so I needed this tracker for that. I also included a symptoms tracker, but I wasn't really sure of what symptoms I'm going to track, so I left it blank for now. My next spread is my YouTube and Etsy shop tracker. I decided to divide this spread into two because they didn't really need a lot of space, and I liked how they looked together because it had the same sort of setup. For my YouTube tracker, what I'm going to do is divide a big rectangle into 12 even spaces and write down the months. And on the left, I will write down how many subscribers I started with, and on the right, how many I ended the month with. For my Etsy shop tracker, I will just write down how many sales I made that month. On the page opposite of that, I decided to do a check these out spread, which is basically just the suggestion spread that you see in most other setup videos. So I drew the box in the middle and drew 4 lines from it, dividing it into 4 sections. The 4 sections are going to be TV shows, movies, books, and music. And my friends always suggest things to me, and I say that I'll check them out, but I usually don't, so I kind of want to have a spread where I can keep track of that and actually check out these suggestions. Next is my goal and accomplishments spread. Just like I did with the YouTube and Etsy shop trackers, I decided to divide the spread in half because it didn't need a lot of space. For the accomplishments part, I just wrote accomplishments and underneath left a big blank space where I can fill it out with things that I think are worth remembering. On the top of the spread are my goals. What I did is draw a big box and divide it into 4 columns. The titles of the boxes are work, personal, health, and social. In each box, I'm going to write 3 main goals that I want to focus on for the year. I'm going to assign a goal to each month of the year and try my hardest to use that month to really focus and work towards that goal. So recently my boyfriend got me a plant shelf as a present, and I decided to get some plants for it, so I needed a spread where I wrote down how to take care of those plants because I'm very bad at taking care of plants. I left the whole page blank except for the title because I didn't know how much space each plant would take up, and I wanted to leave it more free where I can write down a lot of detailed things that each plant needs. This next spread is my favorite in this entire setup, and that is my semester planning spread. There are 18 weeks in my semester, so what I decided to do is do a 2-page spread and divide it into 9 columns each with all my classes written in. And what I did in the middle is create a sort of Dutch door where I can write down my professors' names, emails, office hours, and any other useful information that I need during the semester. So I'm not really sure what happened to my January setup footage, but I'm just gonna do a flip through and talk you guys through it. I decided to do a small calendar for January instead of the large one that I usually do. On the opposite page of my January calendar, I have a master to-do list. This is where I can write down any tasks that come to mind. Maybe they have a due date, maybe they don't, but the reason I put them there is because I don't know exactly what day I'm gonna be doing them. That way I can write them down and come back to this master to-do list later and transfer these tasks into the days when I want to get them done. My next spread is my weekly layout. So on the left I have the days of the week and I write down any events that are happening then. And on the right I have my dailies, which I decided not to structure because I'm not sure which day will have a lot of tasks, which days might have nothing to do. So I decided to do this freehand and just go day by day and fill it out as I go. My next page is my January habit tracker, which I forgot to include before my weekly. That's why it's after the first weekly. So the 4 types of habits that I want to focus on are my morning routine, my health, my productivity, and my night routine. And here is my final flip through. I added a bunch of things off camera like washi tape and maybe some extra decorations, but for the most part, my spread layouts are the same. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Here are some of my other socials if you want to check them out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!